Welcome everyone. Good evening. How are you? Great, good. My name is Jamie Bergeron. I work at the Office of Institutional Diversity and Inclusion at Northeastern, and I'm so glad to see you here tonight with us. I'm here with a colleague.
Hello everyone, my name is Michelle Dubow. I know I've met with some of you before. I'm a career advisor in our career development department, and we're so happy to be a supporter of this event.
So you are in the kickoff event of our 2-day Reach Out LGBTQA Career Conference. We are in the 3rd year running for the Reach Out Conference at Northeastern, and we're so happy to have folks not only from Northeastern, but from 9 other universities in the local regional area and throughout the state who will be with us today and all day tomorrow for the half-day conference. So if we could just give a round of applause for all the folks who are coming, joining us, engaging in these conversations. Thanks for joining us. So we'll hear some welcome remarks from a few folks who have had a hand in putting this event together, but just a few reminders before we get started. First of all, this event is being videotaped. The only folks who will appear on video are the panelists and the people in the front, just so you know, and it will be posted to the Career Development YouTube account later. We have gender-inclusive restrooms on this floor down the hall to the left of the door. And after the panel, we will remain here for about an hour. We'll be open with food and beverages for networking, not only with our guest speakers tonight, but amongst each other. It's an opportunity for students who have joined today to mix and mingle with one another, meet folks you haven't met before, and get some more conversation going about your career planning, the job search, and your identity. So I'm so happy to have you all here with us tonight. I'm really looking forward to the remarks from our panelists, and I just thank you for your time. And with that, I will turn it over to...
Hi there. I just wanted to reiterate Jamie's comments. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It means a ton. I am Alec McLean, and I am a 3rd year marketing student, and I am the VP of Marketing for Out in Business. We are one of the sponsors of tonight's event, and we are a fairly new club on campus. We are partnered with the DeMoore McKim Business School to help students develop themselves professionally. We feel that there is a need to recognize our students' assets from a queer facet and to help students achieve their goals through co-op and post-grad. And we meet every Tuesday. Please come talk to myself, Erica, Marcos, or Joe throughout this conference today and tomorrow. And we would love to provide more information for you guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to myself. We're on Facebook, and we do have several emails, so please get in touch if you'd like to be connected with us. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Erica Lezama and to Marcos Contreras.
Hey everyone, I am Marco Contreras, and I am treasurer of Out in Business. Like Alex said, Out in Business is a great group that we have on campus, and we're incredibly fortunate and thrilled to have the support of DeMoore McKim School of Business. With that being said, Dean Peggy Fletcher has been an instrumental part of planning this committee, in the planning committee, and planning this event, and so she has a few remarks that she wishes to share with you guys. So please welcome Dean Peggy Fletcher.
I'm short. I have to pull this down. Thank you. On behalf of the DeMoore McKim School of Business, we are very pleased to help assist in planning and running this event. This is the first of the business events. This is the first time that the Reach Out Conference has sponsored a business specific event. And so we hope that it continues every year after this. So as part of the Reach Out Conference for LGBTQA and any other, however sexual oriented and gender identity, you are not in that LGBTQA, we welcome everyone. So I want to thank a few people before we get started. First, I would like to thank Jamie Bergeron, who you've now met. She and her staff have just done a wonderful job in putting this conference together. And she was telling me that tomorrow's conference is really large. with many panels and companies coming. So I hope all of you can attend tomorrow as well. I also want to thank some of the people that you just met. These are the officers for the Out in Business organization, and they also have been working very hard to get this moving forward. And that's Erica Lezama, Alec McLean, Marco Contreras, and Joe Sousa. You've met two of them, you will meet others as we go along. They really have put a lot of work into putting this session together. We also have representatives this evening from Deloitte, Wheelock College, and Harvard Pilgrim Foundation, in addition to many others that will be appearing tomorrow. And so I would like to thank all of those from the DeMoore-McKim School of Business and the university programs to help put this together. So, as you know, Co-op is our signature event. And anyone who leaves Northeastern generally says that was the best experience of the time that they spent here. Now, I used to be a faculty member. I can take exception to that, but it goes without saying, Co-op is a defining experience. We are extremely proud of it. We go to great lengths in DeMoore-McKim to make sure that people are prepared for the jobs that they are going into. We do individual planning, we have courses, we do mock interviews, tell you how to write your resume, and it goes on and on, reflections afterwards. But we always want to make it better. And of course, the purpose of this conference is so that all of you will have a chance to make sure that whenever you're going out on co-op, that you have a chance to get your concerns aired and have a chance to talk with companies to see what they are looking for. And so the purpose of this conference is really to help all of you so that you can have the best co-op experience possible. So, having said that, let's get on with the program. I think you want to hear from the panelists more than you want to hear from me. So again, welcome to all of you. Thank you.
Hello, is this on? Can everyone hear me? Yes. Hi everyone, my name is Erica Lezama. I'm a third-year finance and economics student in the DeMoore-McKim School of Business, and I'm also the president and co-founder of Out in Business, and I'm going to be moderating the panel tonight. So I just wanted to relay the message again. Thank you all for coming. I look forward to hearing from you. Let's get started with, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you majored in college, how you got to your role, and so forth and so on.
So my name is Steve Savitsky, and I am a career counselor at Wheelock College, right on the other side of the fens. I'd like to start off by thanking Northeastern University for inviting me back to campus. I graduated from DeMoore-McKim in 2011. And I would say that this institution's been an instrumental part in me going into career services, from giving me opportunities in business, getting involved on campus with the Council for University programs, gave me a fantastic foundation to go on to graduate school and into career services. And I'm really looking forward to sharing all of that with you throughout the conference.
Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Andy Huang. I also graduated from DeMoore-McKim Business School in 2011 with my bachelor's in accounting and finance, as well as my master's in accounting as well. So I am at Deloitte in our national inclusion recruiting team. And in my role, I support Deloitte nationally with our various inclusion recruiting strategies and manage our relationship with various external organizations. But I didn't always start in that. I actually did all of my co-ops in our audit department. What Dean Fletcher said about the co-op program was really valuable with my career here at Deloitte, and then I transferred from audit into our recruiting group.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Hackett, and I am the Senior Programs Manager with the Harvard Pilgrim Foundation. Unfortunately, I did not graduate from the business school, but I actually graduated from James Madison University with a degree in sports medicine. Kind of how I got to where I am now is I started off with doing some nonprofit work with the AmeriCorps program called City Year. And from there, I think that's where I bit the bug for service, and that's really what got me into really wanting to impact community and just really be a change agent into the community where I live.
Thank you. So you all mentioned how you started in one role in undergrad and eventually switched to something else. So Ashley, you started in sports medicine and now you're doing more business and being accounting and now doing recruiting. So how do you feel that your undergraduate career helps you in this non-traditional or this role that doesn't necessarily fit the undergraduate career that you had? And what are your favorite parts about it?
Sure, sure. So I'd like to add that I am also a City Year AmeriCorps alum. That was a part of my journey that I think was also instrumental in guiding me on my career change. I would say that when I was getting involved on campus with Council for University programs, who here goes to Cup events in the audience? Goes to those concerts, goes to Matthews Arena for the Spring Fest. That was so much fun. And I started to think to myself, there has to be a way that I can get involved professionally on a college campus. And as I was going, I was a marketing major, so that was very helpful to me with my role as a lecturer's chair. How do you market these events? My finance concentration as well with budgeting, and that has come into key play within all the roles going forward. So so my undergraduate experience, for sure, it made me want to go into higher education and be involved and help students develop within the college space. And that eventually led on to City Year. I saw those red jackets around campus. They come here for Summer Academy every year. I wanted to know what that was about. And yeah, I would say that what Dean Fletcher said earlier is that co-op certainly is the marquee program, especially within DeMore McKim. But remember that as a student at Northeastern, you have so many resources and opportunities for leadership, and encourage you, if you are not already, to take advantage of all of them, because they will be really instrumental in developing the whole person.
So when I was at Northeastern, I didn't even know inclusion recruiting was a job that you can go into inclusion, that it was actually something that people do. I just thought it was something that I would do on the side. So when I was at Northeastern, I was very involved with various student activities. I wish we had an out in business class or group when I was in school, but I was involved with the Pan Asian American Council, various other groups. So that's why one of the reasons why I joined Deloitte as well, because we have various groups called business resource groups. So once I joined Deloitte, I was like, oh, okay, I'll join our version of NU Pride, and then the Asian Business Resource Group. And I was in audit for a few years, and all the skills that you learn in audit, like attention to detail, your analytical skills, your relationship building, et cetera. Those are good soft skills that carry over to a lot of other fields. So I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm spending more time at Deloitte planning various inclusion events, doing a lot of stuff for the business resource groups, almost as much as I am doing client service work. And I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do and transfer into this field. So looking around internally and externally, I was like, Deloitte has this inclusion recruiting role, which is a great blend of inclusion and recruiting, because I love being at events like these, talking to students. I wish, what my recruiter when I was at Northeastern was one of the reasons why I decided to go into Deloitte. So just helping to guide the future of Deloitte and helping bring in future talent is what I wanted to do, especially with the inclusion lens. I think is very important, just given my background and my identity. So I wanted to do that, and here I am 2 years later. So it's very exciting, and I still, knowing the business is good, because talking to potential students, I can tell you what you do as an audit intern, as a tax intern, et cetera.
So as you can imagine, sports medicine and kind of the work that I do at the foundation are completely different entities. But to be honest, it was the work that I did while I was in undergraduate schools, it really caught me on to doing service. So right after I graduated, I was completely burnt out and was like, there's no way that I can go to grad school, and I really wanted to take some time off. So that's when I looked into doing AmeriCorps and City Year. And I think I was like, okay, 1 year, and then I'm gonna go to grad school. I'm gonna make my mom happy. I'm gonna get my PhD. It's gonna be great. And I think it's been 4 years, and I'm still with the Harvard Pilgrim Foundation. And honestly, I love it. And it's everything that I realize that I really want to do, whether it's the connections that I get to make with people, the impact that I get to have, and also working with organizations and giving them the ability to increase their impact is honestly like why I wake up every day. So I love it, and everything's been great.
Great, thank you for that. Can you talk a little bit about your coming out story at work, and were there positive reactions, or there something that you wish you could have done better? Do you wish that there was a better reaction? Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Sure, sure. So I would say that I've come out in multiple professional settings. I can certainly speak to them in general. That I would say that people, if I received any sort of discrimination or what have you, it was not. It was actually from a place that's going to surprise a lot of you. It was from LGBT community members, because with how I'm a gay man, and a lot of people, when I tell them I'm gay, they're like, "Oh, I had no idea." So what has happened with that, for the most part, is that the gay community, because I do not portray my identity in the way that many in society expect for that to happen, I do receive that subtle have received that subtle discrimination within the coming out process, and that has definitely been how that's impacted me.
So I came out during my second co-op. I was with Deloitte as well. So it was, and I say, like with my story, I've been fortunate. Deloitte is a very inclusive environment. I would say many companies within the public accounting, professional services field, they have made strides in the diversity inclusion field. I would say I've been fortunate and haven't felt a lot of backlash. So I came out my second co-op to my engagement team very subtly. At the time, I had a boyfriend, so during one of our I think it was like at work or something, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna meet my boyfriend after work," and then they were like, "Okay, like, what does your boyfriend do?" Blah 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 blah. So that was like pretty easy. And now, which is very fortunate. Now, being in the diversity inclusion field, I use my LGBT identity sort of as an asset, speaking from just my perspective when I talk to our internal partners, to various organizations. So I come out that way. When I was in audit, I was the co-chair of our LGBT business resource group. So I kind of used that as a door opener and talked about that to my engagement members. And those have been some of my greatest allies. And when I tell them I have an event or something that I'm hosting, I ask them, and they come because they know me. They know, it's something that I'm very passionate about, and then they come, and then they get to learn as well.
So the way that I kind of came out to my company, I kind of decided to do it on a grand scale by just go ahead and starting an LGBTQ and allies ERG at my company. I didn't want to have tiny conversations. Why not just make it company-wide? So I created it because I really wanted to have a safe space at our company, as well as be a resource to everyone at the company, including the company. So for me, it's been nothing but great. I've never had any awkward interactions or anything like that. If anything, it's really become a safe space for people to talk about LGBTQ issues on a broad spectrum, as opposed to talking about specifically my identity. So in all honesty, I know I'm very, very fortunate in that aspect, but the day that I decided to make that is probably one of the greatest days I've had at my company.
Great. So when we look at business compared to other majors that are offered here at Northeastern, we think of it more as a more traditional role. You have to wear a suit when you go into work. It's more the traditional side of the workplace. Do you feel that being queer has hindered you in a more traditional role versus being in a career that is more open and accepting?
Well, I would say that, and first of all, within my current position, I feel extremely supported with my gay identity, and definitely what I've done and what I'm doing here tonight is paid it forward to the students that I've served in putting together inclusive programming in graduate school and what have you. So, is your question around attire specifically, or what were you? Could you rephrase it, please?
I was asking, so I know coming into Northeastern, there's many different majors, and being a business major, it's more stereotyped as you have to wear a suit and you have to you have to be more reserved at work and keep like your personal life to yourself. So I'm asking, yes, how does the whole attire work? But as well, do you feel that being in business has hindered your opportunities to talk about being queer, as opposed to working in a different field?
Well, from my experience with it and within my current role, I would say that I'm the type of person who, when it comes to my gay identity, I normally would like to just get to know the people I work with around me. So I would say that from that perspective, being in business has been fantastic for the comfort level that I have had with coming out to coworkers, even though I'm not in a business setting anymore. So uh, yeah, I think it was a great fit for me from that standpoint.
Yeah, I think just my identity, like I mentioned, has been an asset just to my current role being in the inclusion field. But even when I was in audit and just going through the process, just Deloitte as well as the other firms I talked to, they were surprisingly very inclusive, very progressive. A lot of the big four consulting firms and other finance firms, I was very surprised to learn, especially now in this field, that they sponsor a lot of various LGBT inclusion events, such as conferences like these. I know they do have a lot of business resource groups, affinity groups. So I think just whatever field you decide you go into, whether it be traditional like iBanking, consulting, even if you want to start your own business, there are opportunities for you to use your identity as an asset, to whatever extent you're comfortable with, because a lot of companies, especially from a recruiter perspective, we're looking at the best quality talent, whether it be LGBT, whether you identify as something else, because we want a diverse workforce, we want a diverse team, and I think having that different perspective really brings a different lens to whatever you're doing in whatever business, or even if you don't go into business, field that you go into. And I think, just test out the field too, whatever, interview process and the recruiting process, talk to current employees, talk to your friends that are there, just to see what the environment is. I will say, it's not like I like to wear bright colors, as you can see. And my, the partners in my office, they know who I am. They know I do great work. And in the summer, if I want to wear bright pants, they're like, "Oh, great outfit." So it's so it's really, I think, about that relationship, and how you connect with them as well. But I mean, I will say, if I'm at a client, I might not wear as bright pants, but still, it really situation by situation. But for the most part, it's been very positive.
And my experience is actually very similar at Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. It's very corporate, but it's also very inclusive, and we very much welcome diversity. So, I mean, myself, I'll walk in with blazer. If I wish I had a really great suit. That's all I really want in life right now is a really great suit. But it's whatever you feel comfortable in. I mean, you want to put your best foot forward, and if you're uncomfortable, then you're not going to be able to do that. So wear what you feel comfortable with, and don't let anyone change that in you.
Great, thank you. My next question would be, seeing as how you all just recently graduated, graduated from undergrad, what was the transition like going from college to the workforce?
Sure. Well, for me, it was staggered in a few stages. As I mentioned, I went into city year, and I was in towards the end of college, sort of a new career exploration, and definitely appreciate all the help that the career development office has and continues to give me in that standpoint. I would say that transition into the workforce overall is you're used to being really busy as a college student and as a graduate student. You might have multiple jobs. I had a graduate assistantship and a part-time job when I was in graduate school at Marquette University, and I was also involved in some student organizations. So you're very busy, and of course your classes most importantly. So you're very busy, but you're very busy in different places. And when you go into the workforce, in my entering my second year at Wheelock, all that busy is in one place. So you need to adjust your time management and your prioritization within that, and also realizing that you're getting lots of great work experience, whether it's on your co-ops or getting involved on campus. But now when you're in a fully professional role, that changes what your responsibilities are, and now you have students that are working on projects for you. So it definitely changes it up, and it gives you a chance to step back at how you look at your work day to day.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And then being very fortunate of going to Northeastern and having all the co-op experience and going to where I co-opted, I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. But instead of the co-op being 6 months and then you go back to classes, it's kind of for the rest of your life. So it's, it's sort of like a different perspective. You're like, all right, this is what I'm going to be doing. So kind of being on your own, like not having your parents, not having sort of like your classmates, although you have like a starting class, at least I had a starting class that I went with. So having more responsibilities, kind of owning your own career and kind of navigating the path, and just figuring out what you want to do kind of brought me a different perspective. I'm like, okay, now I need to think about what I want to do for the next 5 years, or if this is what I want to do. And like Steve mentioned, when I started, I had co-ops that I had to supervise as well. So it's kind of it was interesting being on the other side.
And a very similar experience as well. I graduated from undergrad, and straight from undergrad, I did my city year experience for 2 years. And then from there, if you're familiar with AmeriCorps, it was very, very time consuming, and I didn't really have much time. And then, so when I transitioned to Harvard Pilgrim, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what free time feels like? This is great. So if I can just echo anything, it's just always remember work-life balance. The transition, it's gonna be difficult or it could be easy, but just remember you have your work life and then you have your personal life, and make sure that you can have both of those.
And I want to add that you never stop learning. Even you think you're done classes, and then you kind of know everything, and then you go to the workforce, and then you're like, okay, there's more stuff I need to learn. So which is great, and no one day is the same, and you're always constantly learning what you need to do for your job, learning what you need to do to get ahead. So always remember to keep learning.
Thank you. So my next question would be, how have the intersections of your identities, such as age, race, or gender, played a role as for you being an LGBTQ person at work?
Sure, sure. Well, I definitely one of the things as a gay man is that's not the only part of my identity. I grew up in a Reformed Jewish household. I consider myself also a member of the disability community. So I would say that all of those things have had an impact on my professional life. The types of roles and places where where I find myself as being a good fit. I definitely value an environment where supervisor is not only going to make sure that you do your job well, but that continuous learning to get to the next level, as Andy mentioned, is extremely important. And someone who and being in a place where uh, all of your identities can be supported, I think, is extremely important. Whether it is your LGBT identity or other things that you bring as an individual, and to remember that remember that you are an individual, and that you don't want one identity to fully define you in the workplace and in life in general.
No, I would echo that. I think it's just been a balance of my multiple identities as a gay man and also as an Asian man. I'm like, okay, so there are certain aspects or times of the year where one identity might come out to more play. So like whether it be like Lunar New Year where I celebrate my Asian heritage, or whether it be like Pride Month where I celebrate my LGBT identity. And it's also been interesting because I've been in both student organizations. So I was in Northeastern as well as like both business resource groups, and it's been a time where which group do I go with, or do I want both groups to come together? So but at the end of the day, like Steve mentioned, it's my own identity and what I want to identify with. So at the end of the day, I identify as a gay man of color who is in recruiting, who likes business, who likes travel. So it's all these multiple identities kind of just frames what I want to do and just what my outlook is like.
And I think the same for me, like my intersectionality is, it's been very pivotal in my career. Like I'm a lesbian, I am a proud daughter of a Jamaican immigrant, and I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan. So I try to bring that with me. Uh-oh, oh God. And I bring that identity with me every time I go to work. And if I can give like any advice is when you get out into your career, things like that, if your company has employee resource groups or committees, like really try to take a part of those. Like your bosses really like to see that you're getting involved in your work and in your work's community in other ways. So my boss loved that I was a part of like our Black Leaders Forum. My boss loved that I was a part of the LGBTQ employee resource group. One, it gives a way to showcase all of your identities, and you just learn so much from your colleagues and everyone that you bring into the organization.
And if you don't mind me adding one more thing to that, I would say my most important identity is I'm a foodie. You want? I love to try new places to eat. And if you go on my Instagram, I post all the dishes that I cook at home. So that's also a very important part of my identity.
What's your favorite restaurant in Boston? Do you have any recommendations?
Absolute favorite, money no object.
Being a college student.
Go around the corner to Good Eats and get that. I think it's called like Ranch Deluxe. It's like a cheesesteak with like also has ranch dressing and bacon on it. It's delicious.
Thank you. So my last question would be, what advice do you have for us, and what do you wish that you knew going into business school now?
I would say that what I wish I'd known now is all of the transferable skills that you get from business school, and that even if you don't end up in one of the traditional fields that business school prepares you for, you're going to learn a lot of things that are going to be very helpful to you. In my role as a career counselor, I screen jobs for our online jobs board. So from there, there's that HR, there's that recruiting piece from the coursework. There's in my graduate school experience, budget and financial management. So the finance piece was very important there. Employer relations and the networking piece. I'm working on a networking event for some Wheelock students right now, and without events like this event and things like that, I would say Dimore McKim really prepared me for my role now. So just know that if you don't necessarily think that you're going to go into a business field, do not definitely make the most out of this degree, because it will take you very far in whatever direction you decide to go in.
Yeah, I agree. The business school gives you a great foundation to kind of explore multiple fields. I mean, my background's in accounting and finance. I went into audit, but now I'm in recruiting. So multiple paths, but just realize what your strengths are, what you're passionate about, and even if you think you want to do something and all of a sudden you have a midlife crisis at 25 like I did. There are it's not the end of the world. Just realize what you're good at, what your core skills are, and like Steve said, they're very transferable. And also leverage the power of your network, your classmates, the people that you meet here, as well as even in your social circle. 5-10 years, they could be your coworkers, they could be your clients, they could be potential employers. So definitely, keep in contact with the people that you meet in business school and various conferences and organizations that you're involved in.
And I think my advice would have to be is don't be afraid to bring your whole self with you. One thing that when I first started out, I always felt that I needed to have a separation of church and state. I needed to have my personal life and I needed to have my work life, and they never needed to intersect. But then what I realized was that by not bringing my entire self, that I was actually leaving other parts at home. So by me not bringing my identity into everything that I did, I was losing passion that I had that was tied to my identity, the confidence that I have was tied to my identity. So my advice to you is just never be afraid to bring your whole self. And I know sometimes out there you feel like you can't, but then, just push through, and if just realize that it's actually more of a detriment to yourself later on if you don't. So always bring your whole self.
I want to plug that Deloitte did a great study on uncovering. So I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of covering, but it's written. There's a book called Covering written by a law school professor in Yale. But essentially, it talks about hiding your identity, whether it be your sexual identity, whether it be your national origin, things like that, and how it's very detrimental. And you're spending so much energy kind of hiding yourself that you don't focus at work. That you're say 40% of yourself you're hiding your identity where it could be dedicated to work. So Deloitte published a great study. It's on our website. It talks about uncovering and the benefits of being your authentic self at work. So a little plug.
Well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your experiences. I'm going to turn it over to Jamie for the question and answer portion.
Again, thank you. And we have time for some questions. So I'd love to turn it over to you all and feel free to ask any of our panelists questions or pose questions generally to them, and I can walk around with a mic.
Hello, my name is Stephen Mays, and I am a fifth year at Northeastern in supply chain management. And my question is actually for Andy. I'm curious what your role, what in terms of goals or different deliverables you have for your role. So what is success in an inclusion position?
So my role specifically is advising our various practices on inclusion recruiting strategies and how we can get a more diverse workforce, whether it be expanding our candidate pool, looking at our schools and how we can attract more students, things like that. So personally, I want to make sure we have as many diverse quality candidates as possible, broadening the pool, making sure that we tap, whether it be schools we need to visit, organizations we need to visit, to bring in the best talent that we can. I personally, I don't have numbers. It's not like I wish I can have 100 LGBT students, but at the end of the day, it's okay, I need someone that's a consultant for, that can implement this technology system. Where do I go to, whether it be a school, whether it be an LGBT conference, things like that. I just want to source the best talent possible.
Great, thank you. Another question. Anybody? Great, in the front. You'll stand and say your name.
Sure. My name is Alec McLean. I'm a third-year marketing student. You guys all had pretty awesome experiences at your current jobs. When you guys were looking for those jobs, did you look for LGBTQ inclusive positions or inclusive companies? Or did you just happen into these roles and find that it was a little bit serendipitous?
Well, I would say with Wheelock College, one of the things that gave me a great connection to it was with its mission and the diversity and inclusion that's a part of it. It has very strong ties to City Year. So Wheelock College is an organization that I had been or a college that I've been familiar with from a professional standpoint for a couple years before I even applied for a position there. And I have friends who have gone and even currently go to Wheelock that I served in City or Boston with. So while I didn't know about any specific LGBTQ inclusion within Wheelock itself, I knew that it was a very inclusive place to work, and I definitely got that feeling during the interview process, and just knew it was going to be a great fit overall.
So when I was looking for co-ops, I was an accounting major, so I know I wanted to go into one of the big four, public accounting. So having talked to all of them, they were all very inclusive I had business resource groups. It wasn't one of the key factors, but I will say the people that I talked to was one of the influencing factors. So just the people that I connected with drew me to Deloitte, and for whatever company that you want to go to, talk to the people there, because at the end of the day, you're going to be working with them, 8 hours, sometimes even more. So you want to make sure that you like the people that you work with.
And for me, I think at first I fell in love with the position, and then as I started digging deeper and deeper into Harvard Pilgrim's mission, I saw that it was where I really wanted to be, and just to see that they actually had an entire department for inclusion and diversity, I think was just like, yep, I want to work there.
Great, thank you. Is there another question? Maybe somebody over here, great. If you'll just stand and say your name.
Hi, I'm Harrison Demig, a fourth-year computer engineering student. My question is, when you've been applying to jobs in the past, how have you chosen to express your queer identity, and how has that been received?
I've never said that I was a gay man during any part of the job application process. However, what I did do when looking for a full-time job after getting my master's was I highlighted a lot of the LGBTQ inclusion work that I did at Marquette University as a graduate assistant. I put together their first ever LGBTQ inclusion training specifically for student employees. They have a large student employment program there. So in whether it was my cover letters and in presentations I did as a finalist at different institutions, that is something that I highlighted and very passionately highlighted.
When I was applying for my current role as a recruiter, I highlighted what I did as co-chair of our LGBT resource group within Deloitte. So just I had like maybe a quarter of the page and just talked about like the various programs I did, the organizations I reached out to, the internal stuff that I did, sort of highlight that, and then during the interview process, given that this role is inclusion focused, I highlighted that as well as how my identity would be positive for the role. So that was something that I did. But if it's something that if you're involved in your local, your pride group at school, or have attended conferences like these and you want to highlight, definitely put that in. Put like if you were on the executive board or if you planned a workshop or things like that. Because as a recruiter, I look at those skills, not if you're at if you're part of an LGBT group, which is great, but like what did you do? So those skills are highlight more than just being part of a group.
And honestly, with my current position, it never really came up too much. I definitely talked about LGBTQ events that I went to around the city and things like that. And if maybe after I got the job, we talked about things like, oh, I'm going somewhere with my partner and things like that. But it was definitely never something that I ever hid, but it was never anything that I think was ever a focal point for them.
Thank you. Do we have one last question? Yes.
Hi, my name is Brianna, and I'm a second-year pharmacy student, so I'm a little out here. But I was wondering if there was any experience you had in your job where you felt uncomfortable because of someone or some event or something that made you uncomfortable with your sexuality or something, and whether you did anything about it or how you went about it, like whether you went to your boss or something like that.
Knock on wood, that has not happened in this role. I mean, it's a very inclusive place. I mean, the only space within which I could say that I didn't want to express my sexual orientation is just in not jumping into LGBTQ inclusion measures right at the beginning of my role. I really wanted to set a foundation for the day-to-day of it, and then once I was established and showed I can do I'm doing well at like student appointments, putting together workshops, classroom presentations, all those things. Then I decided let me use my identity to try and help current students in that role. So yeah, to answer long-winded to answer your question, no, I haven't had that experience, thankfully.
I've been fortunate as well. In my current role, when I was in audit, I've had very supportive managers, engagement teams, and partners. And in my role, the people I work with are very open and they are very inclusive. And just having that dialogue with them when I was in audit, just letting them know, that I am LGBT, I think has just been helpful as well. I will say, in my role as co-chair of our LGBT group, I've had various employees reach out to me because they've had instances. So I won't name names, but just at the end, because we were able to change something. There was a new employee that reached out to me because he just joined the firm. So he was called our helpline to figure out what our benefits are, because we offer benefits for same-sex couples. So he got married. And he talked to the helpline, and he said that his husband, but the lady, she kept referring to his partner as her or his wife, and after a couple times, he just gave up. So he reached out to me for to talk about it, not to complain, but just to say FYI. So I reached out to someone in our benefits group to let them know, and they reviewed the tape, and it was because the employee was new and the training wasn't inclusive enough. So we're able to kind of, just with that connection, the help desk person just went through another round of training, and going forward, we included more inclusive training for our call center, which was really great, given just something like that. So even if something like that happens, reach out, because even you think it won't make a difference, but it does.
And yeah, just to echo, I too haven't been very, very fortunate that I haven't had that experience. One thing I'm very proud of is, again, our employee resource group. I know we've had people in our company that have been very excited and very happy that we have this employee resource group, because maybe they don't feel as comfortable coming out at work, but they're happy that it's there. So when they are comfortable, that they do have this space to attend events and feel like they can be a little bit more open. But no, same, again, knock on wood, I'm very fortunate and haven't had that opportunity.
Great. Thank you all so much for sharing your comments, and thank you all also for sharing your questions. We really appreciate your time, and I would like to give you a small token of our appreciation. And if we could have another round of applause for our panelists.
Thank you. I've always wanted to try one of these chocolate bars. I see them in the bookstore all the time, so yes.
First of all, I want to appreciate all of the work of the volunteers and the staff members that you've seen around the room this evening, and that will be present at tomorrow's day-long event, which will be held in the John D. O'Brien African American Institute. And of course, the generous partnership with Harvard Pilgrim Health, who has sponsored this two-day event, in addition to the Northeastern sponsors of DeMoore-McKim Business School, the LGBTQA Resource Center, Career Development, Office of Institutional Diversity and Inclusion, and all of our LGBTQ organizations, including Out in Business. So without further ado, I'd love to move into the period of the night where you actually get to talk to each other about the questions that you're having. If you've gone on co-op before, if you have had an internship experience, to share those with one another and ask questions and pick people's brains. And of course, speak also with our panelists or staff that are here to chat more throughout the evening. Feel free to introduce yourself to the people in your row or the people sitting directly in front of you, behind you. Get up, move around. I know it's awkward to introduce yourself to people that you may not know, but tonight and our half-day conference tomorrow are that opportunity to really talk about being queer or exploring your identity within the context of our careers. And so it's really a special time of the year, and I encourage you to do that. I'm so thankful for your time. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great evening.